Hey guys, just like always, it's Hot Rod 914s here at the Red Barn, but just like last episode, we aren't at the Red Barn this time. We're back to the secret undisclosed shop working on Wide Red, our Group 5 bodied 914 V8 swap car. So, making lots of good progress, so let's head over there and see how we did this week, shall we? Hope you enjoy. And I'm here at the secret undisclosed shop on a Saturday, so listen. It's nice and quiet. There's no other fabrication work going on. Anyway, and I'm just wandering around kind of planning for next week when we're back on Wide Red. And I stumbled over here to the fab bench, and this is the rear panel that's going to be the engine part of the engine cover. And Greg has already fabricated up some wonderful little intermediate panels. And this is going to be really difficult to see, but maybe you can sort of see that, you know, the firewall is cut where my fingers are showing you, and then this panel is going to come up into here, and he's got the intermediate panel temp fitted over here. It's going to attach to this, and it's going to come around the corner, and it's going to close off the firewall back in there. And so this will all be nice and tidy and waterproof and all that good stuff. So that's going to be a difficult thing to show you because it's not going to film well. But I always love just kind of looking at the raw components and, you know, radiused corners, nicely radiused bends, you know, really well fit, nice and trimmed edges to all the sheet metal. You know, he's going to be going after doing some modifications to this piece so it ties in nicely visually and structurally. So yeah, I'm really pleased with all this. And again, it's like I'm only doing parts of this stuff. I'm so used to doing the work. It's a treat to watch progress happen while I'm just off doing my own thing on my other stuff. Anyway, so yeah, Wide Red coming right along. Oh, I love the smell of burning powder coat in the morning. So here Greg is just doing the removal of this remaining corner of the nose by sanding through the metal we want to get rid of, but preserving the parent metal behind it so we can spot weld the new replacement panel to it. Well, we're committed now. And here you can see the goal, right? Leave the parent material, just get through the spot welds. A couple of errors, you know, it's invariably when you're doing spot weld drilling, it's almost impossible to get every one of them without going through the parent material. So worst case, we can just patch this in, or we will patch this in, just weld another little bit here so we've got a surface to weld to. And this missing section right here obviously will be replaced when the new floor pan goes in. So we'll have this seam all the way across here. And again, you got a little bit of tidying up left to do here, a little bit of repair here. And we'll probably have to add a flange to the outer sides of these noses because they just cut those square down on both sides. Well, you can see, right? This has got a little bit of the parent, but not enough to spot weld to. And this has virtually none of it. So we got a little bit of a repair prep work to go, but let's see if we can sort of test fit this panel and just see kind of what kind of a vibe we get. All right, so not that you could see from your vantage point, but that nose panel fits pretty well. It indicates there's a couple of things we got to go after here still. This is obviously got to be redressed, and this panel isn't in the right position because of the, you know, the way it's been tweaked on. So once this is back, it fits pretty well. There's a couple of, you know, areas where as a repro panel, it's going to need some adjusting. But in general, you get a vibe. I mean, compared to, you know, how much was missing when you see the car with that panel in it, it's a whole bunch of important stuff. Oh, the other thing, if I wasn't clear when I said that this piece was the spare tire surround, what you can now see is you get a very clear view of yet another support structure. They hadn't messed with this, but this is clearly an important one. It ties the front of the car back to the inner fender well. And you can't really see it with the radiator in place, but you get the idea. There's a big support panel here with some supportive holes in it. And now you can see just how important all of this corner of the car is and just how much better this is all going to be. And again, remember, this was cut, this was flopping free. So yeah, we're going to be in much better shape when this is all put together. And just doing some more planning for next steps as we get ready to do this sheet metal repair. And in just looking around, came up with another must repair issue, and that is the brake lines here at the front. Many of you will look at this right now and have already determined what this issue is. And what you can see, if you aren't sure what this issue is you're looking at, this is the hard line. It's been P-clamped to the chassis. It extends out beyond the P-clamp and it connects to a flex line. That flex line moves because the wheel goes up and down, the wheel turns, and that flex line has to flex. Hence the word flex line. The bad news is, let me flex it for you. And I don't know if you can you see when the flex line flexes? Let me see if I can get way down in here. When I flex the flex line, that hard line right there moves from the P-clamp out, which means over time, that is going to fail. It's not a if, it's a when. So that needs to be corrected. Anytime you have a hard line going to a flex line, this joint right here has to be supported with a bulkhead connector or some such thing that does not allow any movement of the hard line. It's also interfering with the water line, which means anything that vibrates around here is actually vibrating this against that place. And over here, we have the same thing. P-clamp here, flex point there. And then just for fun, let's have this fitting rub against an untrimmed raw sheet metal cut. So that is another safety thing that we will be addressing before this car is moving under its own power at all. You know, it's funny, I drove this thing over here from the Red Barn and I'm looking at that going, nah. I'm, you know, should have probably looked first, but anyway, there you go. So that's one other thing we're going to be taking care of. All the parts are here for the seat repair on the driver's side. All we were waiting for was this part from Restoration Design, which is the tilt catch and lock. This little nub that sticks out right here prevents the seat from coming out, the seat rail, frame rail rather, from coming out when you tilt it back. It's got this little stopper on it. But you can see we gotta repair that, because the way they want you to put this on is to spot weld the face of that onto this surface and then weld around a couple of spots on the perimeter. So this hole and all this junk and this wowie spot has got to go, and Greg's just fabbed up this little patch that will go in here. And then once that's in, we will be able to put this in, move on to getting all the hinges and risers in place, and this repair will be done, and we will have a stock seat back in the 914. That'll be a real good litmus test for seating position, you know, leg room, headroom to the roll cage and all that other stuff. So I'm going to get out of Greg's way and let him go at this. And grinding and prepping, you know, when you look at a repair like this, you think, oh, this is going to take 10 minutes. And then you realize everything has to be fit, and the patch has to be shaped in order to fit, and the floor's got to be sanded. You can see there was a bunch of welds here. Hard to come through on the video, but this section is you know, kind of lumpy. And so this patch, I can't hold it in here and film, but you kind of get the idea. You know, that's going to go in there, and once that's dressed, we'll have, you know, and that hole's going to get plugged, and we'll have a nice surface to weld that catch to. All right, so give us the 1-2 on what you've got going here, ready to go in.
Yeah, so we have it trimmed with about a 30-second gap around the surface, so when I MIG weld, I know I'm getting all the way through. So I'm going to tack here in the corners where I feel flush right now, and then I'm going to take and just kind of pry it to where I feel flush again at the bottom, and continue to tack, staying away from the magnets, because that will actually pull the metal, the molten metal, towards it. So, and then I think I'm going to take and come in and tack in a plug for that hole at the top.
And then, sorry, then you got plug welds for the bottom.
Yeah, 2 plug welds for the bottom.
Okay, so there's the weld stuff done, except for the plug weld on the bottom. So now it's just a matter of dressing that weld, and you don't need to watch that happen because it's just going to be some grinding, sanding, sparkies. There is a really good installation video for the seat hinge stuff we're going to do on YouTube by Restoration Design. And so rather than us covering that, if you're interested in how to put seat hinges in with the risers and the hinges and all that good stuff, go to the Restoration Design YouTube channel, and there's a video, among other things, lots of their panels, how to install lots of their panels, but there's a whole series on how to do exactly what we're going to do. So go watch that if you're interested. And when you see this next, we will have the stock seat back in the car. Okay, I lied. I will show you this. So there's the patch repaired. And if you're saying, well, why did you leave that little lumpy thing on the top? That is because, where's the part?
Just had
it over here. Because, move your meat paw here, I got it. The reason is because that weld's right there. So we're going to take advantage of the fact there's a little bit more material there when we stitch it in. And then this piece has been clearance for some plug welds, and it gets welded on the top, it gets welded on the bottom, it gets welded a little bit on the side, and that is all stable, and we will have a seat. All right, the driver's seat risers and all the other components are ready for final welding. And here you can see how this all comes together. We got the tilt catch tacked in. We have the risers, the hinges are welded to the risers. These were bench welded. I can't show it to you with the rails in it, but they're welded as per the factory. And then the risers themselves are screwed down to the floor to get the final position. And then the litmus test is just making sure that the tilt mechanism, now you can see how this works. This lever just rotates this element, and there's a little tooth, if you will, that goes into these cutouts on this component. So at the very bottom, you've got that setting, and then you tilt the seat, and you got that setting, and then, you know, there's the up setting. Anyway, nice and smooth. There's no interference between either side of this mechanism with how it has to move in there, and the hinges move freely. So now you can see we've got the spot weld holes all set to go. So these are now screwed down, ready to be welded. Once those are welded, everything comes out, and we do all of the face spot welds in this element, do a little bit of a tidy up on that weld there, and the driver's seat will be done. And there it is, one stock 914 seat back in the 914. And it's the exact same situation as what you saw with the passenger seat, and that is with me in a comfy position, 5'10"-ish. You know, it's a little bit of a long reach to the steering wheel, but it's about right to the pedals. And this is an aftermarket pedal assembly. And invariably, when you do that, they move this way a little bit. So he may be able to adjust the pedals just the way, because the pedals are adjustable angle-wise, and we could probably move them a little bit farther away, which might help a little. But in any case, yeah, there you go. Now this is the stock seat, and I'm on the stock pad, and where I was in the 911 seat and I was hitting my head, I now have room. And same trick as on the other side. If we pop the factory pad out, not that you would, but you can get a little bit lower. And as I mentioned, the aftermarket seats, at least the GTS Classics, sit a bit lower than the factory seats, and now I have a ton of room. And yeah, visibility's fine, all that good stuff. So way better. So there's a bunch of great progress on Wide Red, and most importantly, the safety stuff. So that new seating position being lower and getting the head way clear of that roll cage is utmost importance. A couple other things obviously to take care of, but coming right along. And most importantly, the owner is real pleased with how things are going. And I gotta say, you know, Greg's really doing a great job, and I'm pleased with how it's going. A little guilty about not doing the work, but that's how this build is coming together. I will be doing a lot more active participation once that nose comes in. And by the way, that got back ordered by like 3-4 weeks, so it's gonna be a while before we get to that. So hopefully next episode, we'll be back on the Ferrari 360 swap 914. So until next time, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, leave me a comment or question, and everybody take care. We'll talk to you all again real soon. Bye-bye.